Hello everyone, I'm making this video to talk about the curriculum evaluation plan, which is the assignment that you will complete by the end of this week, and this is the first assignment of our class. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that this is the first assignment in a 3 assignment series, so the assignment that comes after this will be based upon this one, and the assignment that comes after the second one will be based upon the second one. So all these assignments build on one another, so it's a good idea to pay attention to the first assignment, the assignment that you will complete and submit at the end of this week. If this first one is good, the remaining ones will be completing the remaining ones will be easy for you. So this assignment is curriculum evaluation plan. Now, before I start talking about the assignment, I think one important point I need to make is that you need to do this assignment on a curriculum, on the portion of a curriculum that is in your certification area. And the reason for this is that the later assignments, the third assignment in the series, is a key assessment in the EDS program, and you have to complete the key assessments in your certification area. So if you're certified as an elementary teacher or early childhood education teacher, then you have to do your evaluation on a curriculum that relates to early childhood education. Please make that decision early on and choose an appropriate curriculum so you don't have to change things later on. As the name suggests, it's a curriculum evaluation plan. The whole idea behind this is to find out if on a given curriculum, if the planned curriculum and the taught and learned curriculum are aligned. In other words, if the students are learning the curriculum that's planned for them. So in order to accomplish this assignment, first you're going to choose a curriculum. So you can choose a whole social studies curriculum, which would be I think too big. You can choose a whole math curriculum, which would be too big. You can choose a portion of a curriculum, which would make more sense. For example, in math, you can look at geometry only, or number sense. Or in science, you can look at force, motion, and simple machines. Something more manageable. In some cases, in the past, some students looked at some units that they designed for their students, a month-long unit on US history or whatever. So depending upon your certification area, once you choose your curriculum to evaluate, the next job for you is to come up with 10 student performance outcomes. In the assignment guidelines, you will see these as SPOs, student performance outcome. Now you're going to come up with 10 of these. 5 of them will be content outcomes, and you can look at it as the cognitive aspect of students' learning. And these things are usually specified in the standards. This is the actual knowledge and skills that they will gain as part of the curriculum. Now the remaining 5, we name them curriculum implementation outcomes. You're going to name 5 curriculum implementation outcomes, and these are not the cognitive aspects of students' learning. These are more on the affective domain. These are outcomes about student motivation, their social skills as they learn the unit, things about their attitudes. There are a couple examples in the assignment guidelines, and probably the examples will illustrate what I'm trying to explain here. Let me see what the examples are. The examples in the assignment guidelines, it's about reading, and the curriculum content outcome is students will be able to distinguish between adverbs and adjectives. And then when you look at the implementation outcome, it states students will develop a positive attitude toward learning. The attitude outcome is clearly about the affective domain of learning, and being able to distinguish between adjectives and adverbs, that's clearly about the cognitive domain of learning. Now when you try to come up with your student performance outcomes, You might want to look at the standards documents. They are really good guides when you're trying to identify these student performance outcomes. And in science, for example, I think it's kind of easy to write these, especially the implementation outcomes, because in science you have the content, physical science, earth science, etc., and then you have the habits of mind and nature of science types of standards. I'm sure that similar things happen. I don't know the standards in all content areas, so I wouldn't be able to speak for all content areas, but the standards will help you in writing these student performance outcomes. Once you have identified 10 student performance outcomes, and these are really, the language is just like the standards language, or when you write an objective for a lesson plan, it's just like that, what you expect from the students in this given curriculum. What are they supposed to learn cognitively, effectively? And then once you have identified your 10 student performance outcomes, then you're going to discuss how you're going to assess whether or not students have mastered this outcome. Now think about different assessment methods as you try to accomplish this task. Some of these assessments will be performance assessments. You can do multiple choice. You can do surveys, for example. If you are assessing a curriculum that involves a lot of hands-on activities, then you might rely on observations. You might rely on talking to students, like interviews. So think about different ways of assessing these outcomes, student performance outcomes. And the next thing that you will do as part of this assignment is to talk about the materials and resources you will need to complete the given assessment. The example in the guidelines, the one about distinguishing between adverbs and adjectives, the identified assessment is performance assessment and a fill-in-the-blank test. And to complete the performance assessment under the materials and resources, we have writing samples from students. So that's one thing you would need to complete this assignment. So that's one of the materials you would need. And the last thing you do as part of the assignment is to provide a timeline. And what that means is that you're simply identifying the time by which you're going to complete this given assessment on that given student performance outcome. Now the trick here is that you have to select a curriculum and you have to select objectives or outcomes that are practical, easily doable, because this assignment has to be completed in a timely manner. You cannot choose something about which you can complete the assessment only in, let's say, February. That wouldn't work out because our class has to finish by December. As a matter of fact, you have to choose things so that you can complete the assessments before the deadline of the next assignment, because the next assignment will be the actual evaluation of the curriculum. This is just the plan, and then after you submit the plan, I give you feedback, and if you have to make changes, you make changes, and then you actually do the curriculum evaluation, and then you look at if what's planned and what's learned are aligned, or if there's a discrepancy. This is a really insightful assignment. Once you know the results, sometimes you get really surprised by what you find. So make sure that timeline is chosen so that you have enough time to look at your assessment data and then write the next assignment. I cannot remember the deadline of the next assignment, but I'm sure you will have about a month from the deadline of this coming assignment to the next assignment. So you have to select the timeline accordingly. Now I will create a folder in our course website, and in this folder you're going to find this video, and then you're going to find the assignment guidelines. And then the last thing I will do is I will try to find you a good example from my previous classes, from my former students, and then I will choose one that has the good and the bad. What I mean by that is that will have good student performance outcomes and bad student performance outcomes. And the example paper I will put will have the feedback that I provided to my students, so you will be able to see what I think about a given performance outcome. So when you look at the example paper from my former classes, and then when you look at the assignment guidelines, and after listening to this video, hopefully things will be clear for you. But if you still have questions, you should feel free to contact me, and then send me an in fact, if it's an assignment related question, post it on Ask the Instructor forum so that other people can see your question and my answer. If you want me to check your assignment for you before the submission deadline, you might want to send it to me, and I will be more than happy to give you early feedback. But as you do this, do not send me your assignment a day before the deadline, because I may or may not be able to send you feedback. You need to give me a couple days to look at your assignment, because I always have something going on, so I should be able to have time to look at your assignment. But again, I will be more than happy to give you early feedback on your assignment. Let's see, I think that's all I can think of right now about this assignment. Again, if you have questions, you need to let me know, and I'll be more than happy to help. And then I will make a video about the next assignment also, and hopefully I will give you some key points. Remember, this week we do not have a module. This is a work week, which means I want you to spend this week working on the curriculum evaluation plan. I want you to create a good product so that the next assignment and the following assignment will be easy for you. That's why we have no module this week. You only have the assignment to complete. That's all I can think of, and I will talk to you when I make the next video for the next assignment. So goodbye for now.